Hi, everyone out there in the world of YouTube. Thanks for tuning in, stopping by, checking out the channel. My name is Jacqueline Anderson. And yes, I know it's been a while, but busy season is coming to an end. So I hope to have more interviews and videos to upload. So continue to check back. So you see this gentleman on the screen. He is a special, distinguished guest. So I'll give you all the backstory, the background of why he's so special. But being distinguished lets you know he's a certified public accountant, and he is a partner in his accounting firm. So my special distinguished guest is CPA Mr. Christopher Smith.
How's everybody doing? And it's good to see you, Jacqueline. Man, it's been a while, and I know we've been trying to, make this thing happen for quite some time. So I'm happy to, finally get a chance to meet with you and just sit down and talk.
Well, I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule, because for those who don't know, this guy, the reason he's so special, because he should have been on this channel 4 years ago, but he is just that busy and that special. And back then, we didn't have the virtual meeting platforms that we have now that it's so popular, and had some audio issues, and things just didn't work out the way I wanted. But I may drop in some of those clips of that old video, see how we look and if we still sound the same.
Okay, all right.
But thank you.
Probably don't look the same, but I'm sure I sound the same for sure.
Yeah, so he would have been the second interview I did back then in 2017. But nevertheless, I'm so happy he's here today, 4 years later, and continuing to do more and succeed and show us what being a Black CPA is all about. I can't wait to hear more about how he's partner doing the doggone thing as well. So we'll jump into it as I always do with the questions. So I just introduced him, but he may give us a little backstory on his name, but it seems pretty simple. Everybody got this name. So what is your name on your birth certificate?
Christopher Sharon Smith.
Oh, okay. I don't know about that, Sharon. Okay. Yeah. That sets you apart, special and distinguished right there.
Looks like Sharon, but it's pronounced Sharon.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got a Black mama,
I got you. That lets you know that no matter how common Christopher Smith are, you see the middle name. Huh?
Right. Yeah, that's why I go by Christopher, actually, in most cases. People I grew up with, they'll still call me Chris, but from a professional perspective, I do go by Christopher.
Gotcha. Okay, so where are you from?
Originally born in Kentucky, but I grew up in Phoenix City, Alabama, and now I reside in Columbus, Georgia.
Okay, a little ways from Metro Atlanta, down to Columbus.
Yeah, well, it's a 90-minute ride up the road, up 185 and then 85. So, and I'm in the city, pretty often, a couple times a month, maybe more, depending on what's going on. But with COVID and everything, all that traveling, that we put the brakes on all that traveling to our second office up there.
Oh, okay, so you a little ways away from all the hustle and bustle of Metro Atlanta. Right. Or has it made its way down to Columbus yet?
I mean, I'll never miss that traffic for sure. So, but it's nice getting back into the city though.
Gotcha. Okay. If you don't mind sharing, what is your current age?
Current age, I'm 41 years old. Okay. I've been licensed CPA since 2009. So what is that, like?
Do some math for us.
11 years or something like that.
Gotcha. Okay, so you got license right around 30, early 29, 30.
Something like that.
Just in case anyone watching this video wants to look you up on the state of Georgia website.
It's CPA 027732.
All right.
I've been in my profession, for about 15 years or so. Started out through. Oh wait, am I getting into the questions?
No, go ahead. This is a conversation, not a questionnaire. Come on.
Yeah, and I, you know what? I think I got my license in 2007, but I had to look at my car.
Who's keeping track, right?
Who's keeping track, right? Who's keeping track? But no, I've been in my profession for about 15, 16 years or so. Started out, just working as a staff accountant at a small private company. Child Care Network. They're based out of Columbus here. Then I moved on over to Aflac after 2 years at Child Care Network, and I was there about 9 years at Aflac. And that's really where I cut my teeth. Right. Came in through entry-level budget analyst, and worked my way through a couple different departments, and man, just that was a really, really good job, and I met a lot of good people there, and I'm still in contact with them now. So that's just a good place for me. And then after about 9 years, I got up to middle management. I was managing the cost department, and some headhunter hit me up in LinkedIn, was creeping in my inbox on LinkedIn.
Is that what
saying, hey,
Instagram slid into your DM?
Sliding into my DM, talking about, hey, do you want a new challenge? I was like, yeah. Do you want to get paid more money? I said, yeah.
Okay.
And not move away from Columbus? I was like, man, yes, I do. And so they hit me up, and we got to talking, and ended up accepting a position to be the finance director or the finance manager. I think that was the title, but the position was really more like a controller at the North American manufacturing operations for NCR. They made ATM machines and self-service checkouts, point of sale terminals, those kinds of things. And so I did that for a few years. Manufacturing is way different than anything else. But at that point, I think right at about 3 years, or a little between 2 to 3 years, I just realized, closing these books every month and doing this, this monthly cycle where we're reporting actuals, and we turn around and we do forecasts, and then we do the annual plan, do budgets and all that stuff. I just didn't want to do that no more. I didn't. I was tired of it. And then also, I knew, I'm like mid-30s at this point, late 30s maybe. And I'm like, I have to look long-term. And so I need to be gaining some equity in something, whether it be, my own company, or, if I was getting stock options at NCR, maybe it would have been different, because equity is equity, right? That's
I own a part of it.
Yeah, if you're thinking about it from a wealth perspective, and we'll get into that too, as far as our firm, there's the wealth conversation is always beneath the surface. It's like, not where's the money, but where's the wealth? And you get that wealth from owning things, owning valuable things, owning things that have value, owning assets, businesses, whatever. It's really not about earnings. From my perspective, it's about, generating wealth and accumulating assets. Those are the things that are going to pay long term. And I knew that, but I couldn't really mentally articulate it.
Okay.
I knew that there was something, and I knew that what I was getting at NCR and some of these other places, that wasn't it. Where you're swapping your time for dollars, right? So
sometimes it's a lot. Sometimes it's big dollars, but you have to put it in perspective as you long term.
That's true. It's big dollars, and if you take your excess and make that excess start working for you, then you essentially you get into the same thing. But working in corporate and not having exposure to any business owners, not having exposure to entrepreneurs, or I just didn't have that mindset. You just have that W-2. Hey, I'm coming in, got a job to do, I'm going to do it. I'm going to try to climb this corporate ladder. And that's cool. I did it. People do it. It's fine. But that's, I wanted to kind of get off of that train.
Really? Okay. So we come from a generation, well, those who know, I'm the same age, we're a little older. I go on and admit it. But that generation where you have a good job, you don't necessarily walk away. So what factored into that decision or what things did you put in place that allowed you to feel comfortable and confident that it would be successful?
Man, it was a lot of things, and I'll tell you, I was never comfortable,
Okay.
right? But sometimes when you're having to make these decisions, you have to get uncomfortable, right? If you want something different, you have to do something different, right?
Okay.
You got to get out of that comfort zone at times. But I felt comfortable enough for a couple of reasons. One, I knew I was going into a firm that was already existing,
Mhm.
right? The founder of our firm is William Taylor. He's a CPA, Black. He's also a CFP, a PFS, Masters in Tax, and
Okay.
a Tulane graduate, double grad, and so he's just, he's legit, right? And almost like a local legend, but he's legit. And he, at the time, the firm was maybe 18 years old or something like that, and it was growing, and they had more work to do than good people to do it. So I was walking into a situation not really where I was going to have to go and hustle up some work. There was already work in the box that needed to get done. So I just had to come in and get to work, right? It was a hard transition, I'm not gonna lie. Very, very, very tough. Very tough. Having to, bill your hours, and that was the worst thing for me.
Really? Okay.
If you haven't worked in public, then you don't know what I'm talking about. Where at the end of the day, if you work 10 hours that week, hopefully you got 10 hours to bill to some clients,
You gotta track that time, justify this time, right?
or what else did you do? I mean, billable hours. That is like the biggest difference
That's
for
a
me
driving
coming out of
force.
corporate and into public, because you're a revenue generator at that point.
Mhm.
You're affecting the top line. Most CPAs in corporate, or CPAs who are in like the government, city or state, they're not affecting the top line at all. They're more of a cost center. But when you're in corporate, when you're in public accounting, the firm, yeah, no, you definitely are affecting the top line, bottom line too, because your salary is in there, but you need to be generating some revenue.
Right. You want to keep getting that check, right?
Yeah, for sure. So I felt comfortable with that with William, and then once we talked about it, he said, man, you come over, you do a year or two. If it don't work out, you can always step back in corporate,
Mhm.
and
Okay.
you'll probably be more valuable because you've seen some different things. And so I was like, all right, it's probably a win-win.
Okay. You didn't feel any pressure.
Yeah, I mean, I felt pressure to perform, but I didn't want it to fail.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's that I won't get too much into the pay situation, but in most cases, you get paid more on the corporate side than you would at a firm.
Okay.
That's why a lot of times you see people leave a firm and go to corporate, and then they really get boosted up. So I did have to take that step, that leap of faith to,
Okay.
to make to do it. I mean, it was a sacrifice.
Financially.
Yeah.
But,
And
but the hope.
4 years later, it's paid off for sure. I mean,
Okay.
I'm not, I'm still here.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
It worked out. You take a step back, but hopefully you can recover or recoup that sacrifice,
Yeah.
whatever that sacrifice
Yeah.
is, it'll pay off.
Yeah. And I don't look at it as a step back, because you have, once I look at everything in totality,
Mm-hmm.
right? It really wasn't a step back. It was a step forward, because the experience that I'm getting here, the things that I'm seeing, the stuff that I'm learning,
And
you
the equity.
can't you can't even pay for that experience and that knowledge. And I'll always have it, no matter what.
It's all about the perspective, huh?
Yeah. And I mean, we talked about the equity, equity partner, like coming in, but there was no guarantee.
Okay.
It was a conversation that we had.
Mhm.
I mean, it was written down on some paperwork as a possibility, but it wasn't guaranteed. There was
Okay.
nothing assured that that was going to happen, you know.
Mhm.
So we had to work it out. I had to, prove to the firm, to myself that, I'm a good fit, I'm a good contributor. And you know, last year, 8 months ago maybe,
Mhm.
we made it happen.
All right.
We made it happen. I've
Okay.
got I've got pictures at the lawyer's office where we went down in there, signed the papers with our corona masks on, and you know,
Gonna make this happen, right?
make new
Corona or not.
business still happens, even during the pandemic,
Mhm.
and that's the one thing we realized, during that crisis or whatever, man, that's when you find out what people are really made out of.
Right.
You
And
know,
I've heard that a lot of firms have been successful or continue to been able to generate revenue during 2020 more than they thought when it initially hit in March and April. They had more business. Like some people I've interviewed said they have more business than they got people.
I mean, I can't say that that's wrong or untrue.
Okay, so
You know,
everybody, you hearing it again. You can't go wrong then in the accounting field. You're able to endure a whole pandemic
hmm
and
that's
come
right.
out ahead.
That's right. And I think 'cause so we're here in Georgia, so 2020
Mhm,
March, April, all the mandates and stuff were coming out,
mhm.
and they even said that tax preparers and CPAs and whatever, they even said we were essential workers.
Okay.
We provided essential services.
Right.
Nowhere near like doctors and people on the front line.
Mhm.
Nowhere near like that. However, the government said they still need their tax revenue so that they can function.
Right. And those that were still in business or trying to stay in business still needed to know what the numbers were looking
That's
like.
right. And so we had to support them.
Right.
It was a
Well,
very difficult time. Uh, Very difficult time for sure.
well, let's rewind and see what led up to this, how you ended up in accounting and
All right.
decided to pursue CPA at what point in your career and where did you go to school and where did you initially major in? Or did you know right out the gate, I'm going to be an accountant, not only an accountant, a certified public accountant? What's
No,
that story?
I mean I knew I had a liking to numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe junior high school. I was able to add numbers in my head, and that got me on the math team.
Okay.
So
Okay.
big woo, woo, woo,
All
I'm on
right.
the
Well,
math team.
that says a lot right there. You got to get 2 plus 2 now.
2 plus 2, that's 4. So I was able to do that. So numbers came easy to me. Um, and so went through high school. Not exceptional in math at all. I took advanced level mathematics classes. But I wasn't like acing them or anything like that. Solid B is what
Okay.
I was doing. So I
That's
went to
passing.
college. Yeah, that's right. I was passing. And so I went to college thinking that I was going to be a mathematics major.
Okay.
Um, no, Dr. Dean, um, who taught whatever the first calculus class was at Columbus State University. That's where I did my first year or first semester. I think I did my first semester.
Okay.
No, I did my first year at Columbus State, freshman year at Columbus State.
Mhm.
And Dr. Dean took his class when he started talking about limits. And I'm like, bruh, what is a limit? And this is like, we at the final exam. I still don't know what limits are. And so he passed me with a C. I think I earned a D, but he
Okay.
passed me with a C. And he was the dean of the program. And he said, "You're a mathematics major? Not no, not anymore. You need to find a new major." So I went on to my plan B, which was always business. So
Okay.
went to business and did a process of elimination to get to accounting. And it just was, it was a logical decision. A 4-year accounting degree
Mhm.
equals entry level accounting job, right? Because I would see you could get accounting jobs entry level with 0 to 2 years experience. And so I'm like, well, that makes sense. Let's do that. And that's what I did. That's how I got into accounting.
That's how you got process of elimination led to
Process of elimination.
a
Yep.
bachelor's degree in accounting, well, business degree.
Yeah.
Did
Bachelor's of Business Administration (BBA)
you,
with a focus in accounting, and then I got my MBA. I got that from Troy.
okay. So where did you eventually graduate undergrad from?
Oh, Valdosta State.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then you got your master's from Troy State. At what point did you decide to start pursuing your CPA designation?
Oh man, it was Mike Mullen, who was the CFO Child Care Network.
Okay.
After my first year, my annual review pulled me into the office, and Mike was a good dude from Birmingham. I wish I was still able to be in contact with him because he changed my life. And he told me, he said, what do you think about CPA? I was like, oh man, Mike, I ain't really thinking about that. Because I felt like I couldn't pass it. I felt like it was too hard for me.
Okay. So you were familiar with that track or that designation in the accounting world?
Not really.
Okay.
I got to be honest, not really.
Okay.
It wasn't something that was promoted at Valdosta State in the circles that I was a part of, right? Now we could talk about that later because there may have been other circles where that was heavily promoted to people who
different colors.
Didn't necessarily have the same tan that I had.
Gotcha. Okay.
But I wasn't a part of those other conversations. I'm not going to say that that's what it was, and we'll just leave it there.
We'll discuss that, especially the climate that we're living in. That ties into it too. So we'll talk about that.
Yeah, because I was only one of 3 blacks in the entire program that I can remember. Yep.
You're at Valdosta State?
Yeah, in the accounting program. I for sure it was no more than 5 blacks in that program while I was there.
Gotcha. Which is why, of course, I talk about on this channel how we represent less than 1% of all CPAs in the United States. So there is no number. So that's why it's described as less than 1%.
I had some numbers somewhere. The AICPA, they don't even publish them for some reason, right? And I don't want to speculate as to why, right? Because I know this is going on YouTube and all that. But these are the numbers that I've seen, and these are the numbers that I usually give whenever I'm doing speeches or seminars, those types of things, right?
Okay.
We'll say maybe it's about 800,000 CPAs total, right? About 800,000 CPAs total. We'll say between 800,000 and 900,000 CPAs total. Maybe between 6,000 and 7,000 of them are black. So that's where the less than 1%.
Yeah, the number I see online, I heard people toss around is like 650,000 total in the U.S., which may be more. I'm sure those are old statistics by the time they are released. This stuff is usually a couple of years old, but we represent around 5,000.
Yeah,
or less.
Not that far off.
Right.
And then when you think about it, from one article I saw, they was talking about the age, like the age of the CPAs.
And what numbers have you come across? Because I haven't been able to find anything, and I did reach out to this newly formed organization you may be familiar with, but I haven't heard anything back from. Is the National Society of CPAs?
Yeah, National Society of Black CPAs. Yeah, I'm a member.
Okay.
Yeah, I joined during the pandemic. I met a couple good people on there as well.
Okay.
And we could talk through that as well if you want to. But from the numbers that I'm seeing, about half are over 65.
Really? So
about half.
The lane is wide open. There is definitely.
Yep. And then
place for black CPAs.
Yeah, and then if you look at out of the ones that aren't 65, there's a good portion of them that are doing corporate.
Yep.
They're
It's
doing
been so
corporate.
hard. Well, maybe you can speak to them. There's so much I want to get into since you got so much experience and things at this high level that you're seeing now.
Yeah, I mean, we just have to maybe have to do a part 2 and a 3. You know what I'm saying? I'm not opposed to that.
Yeah, because we got to make up for lost times. We got 4 years to catch up on. But I will just close up or go back to the CPA journey. So
Sure.
you got your MBA, and I think you mentioned Mr. Mullen was asking, "What are you doing?"
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, and so he told me, said, you know what, Chris, because he was calling me Chris. You know what, Chris? If you want to have a career without limitations, then you will get your CPA license.
Okay.
It removes the upper limit. And then he equated not having a CPA license to a lawyer or someone with a law degree who didn't pass the bar. And then so that brought it home for me.
Okay.
Because I didn't know that the CPA license was, on the same level as a law license.
And now it supersedes that all credentials now, the reputation of being a CPA.
That's what they say.
That's what they say, right? Right. So I'm gonna rock with and roll with it. Beyond a lawyer or a doctor worldwide, CPA is the most difficult prestigious exam or credentials you can have.
Yeah.
Because we support both of those professions.
It's an open secret, it is an open secret that that CPA license, you can build a career on top of it, and that's fact.
So was the company supportive? What did Mr. Mullen say? You have our support financially?
Yep, he did.
Professionally within the flexible work schedule? What did that look like?
He bought the Becker software audit for me.
Okay.
He said, I would. And then the other thing he said was, now you can take it one part at a time. And I said, what? You can? You can? Because there was a time, you had to take all 4 parts together. Right? Mm-hmm. But once he said that, and the other 2 things,
twice a year or something, 2 times.
Yeah, yeah. So once they started doing it on the computer,
okay,
that really changed it up. And so then I really felt like I had a shot. So he said, we buy you Becker audit section, and once you pass, we'll buy the next and the next. Well, I ended up leaving the company about 6 months later to go to Aflac.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, my first job, I'm not gonna lie. First job, I was getting paid like 27 grand. Mm-hmm. And I guess that was a lot of money. I don't know, but I just remember that paycheck every 2 weeks was $678. I do remember that.
I would say my first job, real job after, and I have a BBA in finance, and I thought, okay, I have arrived. My salary job was $16,000.
Okay.
When I first graduated, so you way ahead of me.
Because I was coming from the call center. In the call center, I was making $11.06 at Blue Cross Blue Shield, and and that was nice. You had grown people working there, supporting families, and I was in school, whatever. But I just thought when I got my degree, I was gonna come out making $30,000, and
$50,000. That's what I thought.
It wasn't like that,
Right. It was a rude awakening. Like,
yeah,
I made more than this. I was working at Lowe's when you broke it
but
down.
I had a really good manager I had a lot of good leaders.
Okay.
Along the way. Barbara Archie at Blue Cross Blue Shield, Silver Fox, man, she was good to me. And she told me, she said, never worry about the money. You just worry about learning what you need to learn. The money is going to take care of itself.
Okay.
And then Shonda Meadows, who was my first manager at Child Care Network, she said some very similar things. She said, you just learn the stuff, man, and you're going to get the title and you'll get all that stuff later. So really, that's all I've ever done. I've never chased promotions and raises and salary increases. I've never, to this day, just never have done that. I've always chased after the hardest projects,
Challenge, huh?
difficult tasks and volunteering for new assignments because, I mean, those things go hand in hand, right?